This is the Gen Y Leaders Podcast. Welcome to the Gen Y Leaders Podcast, where we guide millennials to become the next generation of business leaders and entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Eric Huey, and multiple times a month, we bring you interviews from high-performing millennials who are challenging perceptions and changing expectations of our generation. Our mission is to help you overcome fear, take action, and go confidently in the direction of your dreams. It's time to start preparing now, mainly because 10,000 baby boomers are retiring every day, which will create a vacuum of career opportunities that you've been waiting for. Will you be ready? Lindsay, welcome to the Gen Y Leaders Podcast.
Hi, Eric. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Look forward to our conversation. No trick questions off the bat. If you could, just tell the viewers who you are and what you do.
Sure. Well, I'm Lindsay Jarquio, and I am manager of the Centurions Leadership Program through the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce.
Awesome. And this is primarily a KC podcast, but it does have some national reach. So for anyone who's not familiar with it, could you explain a little bit what the KC Chamber is and maybe a little bit about the Centurions Program?
Yeah. So the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce really is a regional chamber, and that's unique for us because we have our hands in all things from public policy to civic and community initiatives, as well as membership, and we plan a lot of events as well. And the Centurions Leadership Program is a program of the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce and has been around since 1976. And it's the premier leadership development program really of its kind in the region. And the tenets of our program are learn, serve, lead, and we support emerging leaders through exploring the Greater Kansas City region and service opportunities, seeing what's available to our community. And it's a self-led program, so that's what's really great about it and unique in that people get to, it is what they make it and plan their own programming.
Very cool. What's the application process look like to get into Centurions?
Sure. So we have an application process. Everybody who applies does get to interview, and we do ask for a few letters of recommendation. And what's also unique about Centurions is that it is typically you've had to be a chamber member, and your organization has had to nominate you for this role or support you participating in Centurions. Mm-hmm. And there's usually one participant per organization that is able to go through the program at one time. And just a few years ago, we expanded to 2 cohorts. So now we are able to have multiple people from an organization at one time. Very cool. And of course, due to COVID, we've been able to relax some of those requirements as well to widen the door and allow more people to participate.
Yeah, that's awesome to, like we were talking about earlier before the recording, just show grace to people in a time of need when people are going through tough times. In terms of the cohorts, how many people like per cohort, or how many people are going through a program at any given time?
Yeah, so because it's a 2-year program, there is a second-year class and then a first-year class times 2. So right now there's 160 actives.
Wow.
So on average, about 80 per cohort, 40 per class on average.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
So that 2-year process, what does all that entail, I guess?
So everybody serves on a task force and everybody serves on a committee, and the task forces range every year and differ every year. So they are connected to the Chamber's Big 5 initiatives and areas that are relevant to the community. So some of the past task force days that we've explored have been healthcare, homelessness, urban neighborhood renewal, and some fun topics too, like sports, food and agriculture, arts, entertainment, and culture.
Wow.
And yeah, so there's a monthly task force day that again is led by the Centurions themselves. And then they're also on committees that range from recruiting to social committees to community leadership. And yeah, they're the ones who are planning all the programming.
Very cool. What was the mantra that you mentioned a little bit ago? Learn, lead,
learn, serve, lead. And so, in addition to the learn component, where again I mentioned the task force days and whatnot, everyone has to do a minimum of 20 community service hours per program year.
Wow.
On average, people are doing 40 on up, and again, just the opportunity to lead your peers because it is a self-led program.
Yeah, that's really amazing. I love the tie into the community and giving back, because I feel like that's such an important component nowadays, to give back to your community. So it's great that those are kind of interwoven into one program. So a big reason why I wanted to talk to you today is, this importance of networking and creating relationships. So in terms of, COVID and how this year is taking a toll on everyone, what does that look like in terms of how you guys have changed creating relationships, networking, and what have you?
Yeah, so I think the theme for 2020 had to have been pivot.
Yeah.
And on numerous occasions, because I remember even being, in May thinking we would be able to travel in October, and that wasn't the case. But I will say that I'm really proud of the KC Chamber for having that growth mindset and really adapting to our circumstances. Mm-hmm. We were able to still put on a lot of valuable programming. We've had D&I workshops that were free and available to anybody in the community, not just chamber members. We had our annual dinner, which was a huge success, and we got a lot of really great positive feedback. So it's just adopting those new platforms that have really come to the surface. Like, of course, we all are very familiar with Zoom right now, and other platforms that we've used to still create a memorable, valuable experience, and allowing people the opportunity to connect with each other and make the most of this time that we're in.
Yeah, I admire you guys for being able to pivot and not only remain successful and engage in the community, but really give back to the community. So that's really cool. In terms of a larger spectrum outside of just Centurions, what impact do you feel like something like a Centurions or a third-party accolade or endorsement, if you will, has on a millennial's trajectory of their career?
I think that awards and accolades, I think that they're really great, and I know people work hard, and those awards and accolades are a result of the hard work and investment that the individual has made. I will say that in the grand scheme of things, impact mm-hmm. outweighs accolades and awards. When I think about Centurions and the recruiting process and the whole process of the application, there was even a question on the application that says, what award or honor are you most proud of? I don't know that I've ever heard someone say, oh, they won this award, let's get them in. Or, it really is the impact and the commitment and passion for bettering the community that they're in that outweighs the award and the accolade.
That's incredibly well said. I'm just trying to picture that, as you said it. It seems like rather than an award being an in destination, it's more like Centurions is a vehicle almost to get people networked, the community together to journey together through life and help each other.
Yeah, and I think that when people, there's a huge network of Centurions alumni out there as well. So in addition to the 160 plus actives, there's over 1,300 alumni
wow.
who have gone through the program since 1976, and it's a Centurion because Centurion, I think, has the clout that it does because people know the hard work that these people are dedicating over a two-year time frame. So yeah. they're volunteering sometimes over 100 community service hours in a 2-year period or even in a 1-year period. And that's in addition to the commitments that they already have personally. So they're parents, they're in school, maybe getting an MBA, they're on other boards and volunteering for other organizations outside of the stuff that they do for Centurions. And so I think that's why it is so reputable. It's not because it's the name like Centurions, but because you know the work that is associated with the program.
Yeah. It's me and my old mentor, my old boss, Burton Taylor. We talk a lot about the importance of kind of like to your point. It's not about the award or accolade itself, but it's also a third party endorsement. Like somebody could say, "Yeah, I'm a hard worker, and I'll go the extra mile," and they could talk all day about themselves, but it's not really until you have a third party endorsement of some sort that kind of lends credibility. Like, oh wow, you do work hard. You are going to go the extra mile. You went through the Centurions program that's rigorous, but it's also engaging the community. So I think there's something to be said for that for sure.
Right. And what did you do you like you said yourself, like the journey, like what was that journey like for you? And what impact did you have in that time?
Yeah, I think it's even further widespread than even just networking groups. I think of, again, this is what my old mentor and I talk about, but there's almost not a car commercial out there anymore that doesn't talk about JD Power and Associates,
right?
And
yeah,
their ranking or their accolades with them. So it's important to, I think, have those accolades, but again, kind of the theme of the conversation, I think, is more so the journey and the results or journey of what that accolade represents rather than just the trophy on the shelf.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk a little bit about, your career. One certain question I ask every guest is what people, books, or resources have made an impact on your career. Do you have certain resources that you dig into to keep you on a successful track?
Yeah, I love podcasts, and I guess a few that I like. I really like the HBR Women at Work, the Harvard Business Review Women at Work podcast. That one's a really great one. Another one that I like is Diana Kander, who's local, Professional AF. That's a fun podcast, and she has come and worked with Centurions and even just my team at the chamber. So a small group of 7 of us, and really talked us through team process improvement. And so that was probably over a year ago that she came in person, because you were in person at the time. And so we have been able to really implement that, the whole concept of team process improvement, and that has been really impactful to our team and building trust in our team, and just really opening the doors to open and honest conversations. So really impacted by that. Sorry to interrupt you.
She has an absolutely amazing book, The All-In Startup. Actually, I was just talking about it before this, another interview call before this one. But yeah, I absolutely love that book. Have you read it?
No, I haven't read that one.
It's great. She's a great storyteller, of course, and talks from plenty of experience, but it's kind of parallel track of, business education, but also a great narrative story, fictional story. So she pairs the two really well together. So it's one of the better business books I've read because it's got this kind of engaging story that parallels it throughout.
So it's the All-In Startup?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah. And I'll link to it in the show notes for anyone who's listening and watching.
Yeah. Sounds great. And then another book, it's kind of, it was the most recent book of mine that I've read, and it's an oldie but a goodie and a really simple book to read, but Who Moved My Cheese?
Huh.
Have you read that one?
I don't think so, no.
I think it's Dr. Spencer Johnson, and it's silly. I totally pun intended, but it's cheesy.
Yeah.
A
Nice.
fable, a big metaphor about change and how to anticipate change and adapt to change, and being proactive. So it's, again, a super simple, easy read, a quick read, but definitely left with a lot of nuggets to think about how I can be prepared and anticipate change.
Yeah. Sounds like it should be on everyone's read list after the year we just experienced and continuing on for foreseeable future. Well, Lindsay, thanks so much for your time. Where can people best get a hold of you if they want business or personal advice, or if they want more information on Chamber or Centurions? Sure.
So I can be found at Jarquio at kcchamber.com. That's a tough one. So it's Jarquio. And check out centurions.org, more information on the application process there. So feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to chat one-on-one if anyone wants to reach out and has any questions. Happy to help.
Perfect. Lindsay, thanks so much for joining us on the show. Really appreciate your time tonight.
Thanks so much, Eric. Great to chat with you.
Likewise. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
That wraps up today's episode. We hope to have brought you some valuable key takeaways. Most importantly, whatever you learned, take action on it. Apply it to your life. Apply it to your career. Motivation and inspiration only come as a result of taking that first step. So if you're enjoying the podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe on whichever platform you found the show. You can also follow us on all the major social media platforms or contact us directly at genwhyleaders@gmail.com. That's GENWHY leaders@gmail.com. Until next time, I'm Eric Huey, and thanks for listening to the Gen Y Leaders Podcast.